What is up, you guys? So, the buzz around college basketball and the 5-for-5 rule is going insane right now. And while super seniors are officially here to stay in 2027 and beyond, the real story here is that the NCAA has found themselves at the end of another string of court rulings and lawsuits not going their way. So pull up a chair, grab a bagel, with no cream cheese of course, and let's break this down on this episode of Athletnick. So, if you've been living under a rock the last 5 years, college athletes are finally allowed to be paid for their services.
Look, there are good reasons why our student athletes cannot be paid, young man.
I ain't arguing. If they got paid, then how'd we make all our money, right?
We do not own slaves, and we have no desire to own slaves.
But of course you own slaves because... Oh, right.
And much like Bill Belichick, the once almighty NCAA has been beaten into submission and been used as nothing but a bank account for college kids since this ruling came down. But the players still want more. Our newest announcement is the passing of the 5-for-5 rule, meaning college athletes will now be given 5 years of eligibility instead of 4, while eliminating things such as redshirting, injury waivers, trimming years in high school, etc. In my opinion, this is actually a good thing for college sports going forward. As someone who was part of the original NCAA slave trade back in the mid-2010s,
We do not own slaves.
I'm by no means a fan of the old NCAA rules, but I can't stand the 30-year-olds fighting for a 14th season of college eligibility because they got a boo-boo and missed the last game of the season. But the real drama unfolding here is that while this is a good rule change, the NCAA, in typical fashion, fumbled this implementation like Russ Holiday in the championship game. So let's get into judicial law and what's going on. So, our timeline here. On June 23rd, 5-for-5 was officially passed for football players, but not officially for basketball players until the fall of 2027. So, after this upcoming basketball season. This in and of itself is stupid, because if you follow college football, you know rosters are largely finished by this time. This, of course, led to basketball players immediately putting the NCAA through a wood chipper, starting with Jalen Washington not even a week later, followed by several others from the class. The NCAA responded, as they have in all matters like this, by saying, "We'll take it to court. You won't win." To which the players immediately won.
No.
A Tennessee court gave Washington and the others a temporary injunction on July 31st. This means that they told the NCAA to stop trying to bar them from playing, basically, for those of you who don't watch Law & Order. This was followed later that same day by a full injunction from the federal court in Colorado for the entire 2022 class. This led the NCAA to respond in a totally unpredictable and never-before-seen way. They cried like little children who didn't get a second Capri Sun, citing the chaos this decision would cause. Now, this is truly a Shakespearean tragedy if I've ever seen one, but I still find it hard to feel bad for the NCAA because of their timing. If you wanted this to take place in the 2027-2028 seasons, don't pass it until those off seasons. You morons come up with this idea in April. Football rosters are basically filled out by the start of January, but as I said, have to be ready by June, in time for training camp. You spent those 2 months dicking around as you always do, Charlie Baker. Just wait, then pass it after this current season. If you were smart, you could pass it like next December, when football season is over and basketball is already halfway through. Now there's no chaos. You literally self-inflicted this by doing it in June. And for what? Football was largely finalized. You literally created the chaos you're complaining about for football, but now you're upset that college basketball, a sport where teams could actually use this rule, want to jump into when you're giving it to them next year anyway? There's just zero logic on who this is for. The benefit of baseball and softball, volleyball, it just baffles me because Redditors are better at talking to women than the NCAA is at managing college sports. Anyway, this further continued August 1st when a Georgia court filed an injunction for several specific basketball players the NCAA was attempting to block, including RJ Godfrey, who signed with my team out in Tucson, which is a big reason I've been so locked into this. But regardless of Tommy Lloyd getting bailed out for coddling a player who goes pro instead of hitting the portal, I just wanted to talk about this because it's so satisfying for me to watch the NCAA continue to lose any semblance of power they once had. I remember when the NCAA was a scary, confusing boogeyman, and to see them completely helpless and ineffectual, it truly warms my heart. My personal feelings aside, I do think 5-for-5 is going to be beneficial for college sports in general, and these courts are absolutely getting these decisions right based off of how incompetent the NCAA is handling things. Anyway, just wanted to make a short video covering all this, but that's all I got. Thanks for watching up to this point. Like, subscribe, all that stuff for more. See you guys next time.